Listeners, beware! You're in for a scare. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Nightmare on Fear Street, an R.L. Stine podcast. And I am your host, Zach.
And I'm Meg.
And this week we read Broken Date. Ooh, super scary. In the house.
Now, did we figure out whether this was a Fear Street or not?
Well, if you look in the book, I was doing research. I couldn't find much about it, except if you turn the pages, it says books by R.L. Stine. It has Fear Street books, Fear Street Saga, Fear Street Cheerleaders, Fear Street Super Chillers, and then there's another really small page on the side that says other novels and Broken Dates on there. So I have no clue.
So this is not a part of the Fear Street extended universe.
No, it's not.
Ah.
Same as with How I Broke Up with Ernie, Phone Calls, Curtains, and Broken Dates. Available from Archway Paper Books.
What is R.L. Stine's thing with phone calls?
Well, I mean, it's the 80s, and, what it's not going to be like the Skype call that murdered you.
Plot twist. R.L. Stine wrote Unfriended.
Oh my god, actually, I'd actually believe that if you told me that.
That was a very R.L. Stine-y movie. That was a very Fear Street-y movie.
Didn't they just make a new one that was almost like that one?
There was a movie that was called Friend Request that was made 2 years before Unfriended, but it was only released in Europe for some weird reason.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing the trailers for that, and it was just didn't I see this movie already?
Yeah, the movie that's called Friend Request is actually a lot more of a movie that you would call Unfriended, because it's actually about Facebook. You don't, friend people on Skype.
I mean, you do, but
you
not
do, but
really.
It's not called that, is it?
No, it's not. So, Meg, how was your spooky week?
Oh, it's been pretty full on over here. I've been doing a lot of job applications, re-upload. I had to delete and re-upload Here Comes Pennywise, my viral hit, because for various reasons, I've been working on building a partnership between my YouTube channel and a network. And they were like, you can partner with us, but you have to get rid of all of the copyrighted content. And I was like, I can't get rid of Here Comes Pennywise. That's my magnum opus. I cannot get rid of it. I will lose all my subscribers. And the PR person was like, that's fair. So what you should do is maybe get a different piece of music that's not Take On Me. So I messaged up Brandon Boone, my composer friend from the No Sleep podcast. And I was like, hey, Brandon, can you make me a clip of music that sounds just enough like the opening to Take On Me, but not so much that the lawyers will come after me. And he did it, and I recommend that you go and watch this video, because Brandon's Take On Me cover, which Henry and I have taken to calling Give Off You. Also, I just posted the trailer for Henry's new podcast, Conjuria, which is coming out next month. So that's up too, if you want to check it out. How was your spooky week, Zach?
I just got over being sick, so I had lost my voice for 2 days, so if I sound really weird, it's just me using a speaking spell. Hello, everybody. Zach here. No, I just lost my voice for a couple of days, and other than that, I ended up watching the Super Mario Brothers movie for another podcast, and I was just blown away on how amazingly bad it is. But
I freaking love the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's one of my, ironic favorite movies.
No, I was just watching it, and I was just trying to figure out this movie is both. So when I think of Super Mario Brothers, I think of Blade Runner meets Mad Max meets Cool World.
The studio executives were doing a bunch of lines of coke, and then they were just guys, I've got the best idea ever. Super Mario Brothers, but it's Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, no, the part that I just started dying with was the female villain. I was like, man, she looks so familiar. Why is it bugging me? And when I looked at it, oh my god, it's Aunt Petunia.
Oh my god, is she in it?
Yeah, she's the evil henchwoman.
I cannot believe I haven't watched that movie in ages. I cannot believe that what's her name? What's that actress's name? Fiona Shaw?
Yeah, I think so.
And she was on Candle Cove as well. When I was watching Channel Zero Candle Cove, I was like, that's Harry Potter's aunt.
Other than that, this week I'm actually going to a retro gaming convention. That's going to be interesting.
You're going to hit up that Dig Dug, the Space Invaders?
Oh, no, I'm gonna go play Polybius,
The game that takes your soul.
the game that takes your soul. Yeah, and other than that, speaking of games that take your soul, I've finished playing through BioShock Infinite for like the 80th time.
I love BioShock Infinite.
So I was just like, I just finished the last DLC.
Never played it because I don't have an Xbox, but I love it.
Well, yeah, especially like when I just didn't want to play anything and get mad at a video game. Like, I'm gonna pop in this game because I had the Rapture collection. And I was just playing. I was like, oh my god, I forgot how amazing this game is.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then this week, I'm gonna go see The Room with Tommy Wiseau.
How many times have you seen The Room now?
And I've seen it more than 10 times,
Oh my god.
but I've never seen it in the theater.
You've never seen it in the theater. That's the only place I've seen it.
I've seen it with friends.
I've gone to see it in theaters twice now.
The movie I want to see in theaters is Fateful Findings.
If only. One day I hope beyond hope that Neil Breen gets enough of a cult following that they do midnight screenings of Fateful Findings and Double Down and possibly Pass Through. And you know what? If I'm really lucky, we'll also get I Am Here. Now.
So this week we read Broken Date by R.L. Stine, author of the Fear Street series.
Now, I read a book many years ago when I was in high school called Broken Soup. And I kept, in my head calling this book Broken Soup.
Wait, how does one break soup?
Oh, well, in the book Broken Soup, I don't even remember that much about the book Broken Soup, but I just remember that the title drop scene is, this character's the main character's little sister drops a bowl of soup on the ground, and it shatters, and she goes, "I broke my soup! Look at all this broken soup!" And I just remember that. That was how she came up with the title, whoever this author was. I'll have to look this book up. But yeah, because I'm stupid, I kept reading Broken Date not oh, he's broken the promise to come on the date. I kept reading it as he is physically broken.
Snapped her in half.
He took the calendar and he threw it on the ground and it broke. And he broke the date.
That brings a whole new definition to save the date.
Save the date with Gorilla Glue. You gotta glue it back together because it's broken.
Oh no! And we'll put some Pied Tods on there.
Pied Tods? What?
That's what the hip kids are saying these days, right?
Pied Tods. Those Pied Tods. And the Spidget Finners.
So, Meg, you want to describe this cover?
Yeah, let's talk about this cover. This is so 80s. So 80s.
So, Meg, for me, you know what the first thing I thought of when I looked at this? This is the alternative cover to the poster for Firewalk with Me.
Oh, you're right, though. It totally does look like the poster to Fire.
It looks like a Twin Peaks poster.
It does. It's so what is it with these books that we've been reading and just Twin Peaks references?
It just looks like a Twin Peaks poster. And look, it's the girl's blonde and she's totally like Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
So the cover is this blonde girl and you can see half of her face.
Yeah, it's in the reflection of a big old knife and she's screaming, but not a lot. She's kind of ah. She's not really screaming.
She's more could you not?
Yeah, she's more I feel like we've referenced this before, but a lot of these covers, the women or the people in general, when they're supposed to be screaming, their faces are just kind of mildly shocked.
That, or she's gonna be what are you gonna do? Stab me?
Yeah. Oh, please, Mr. Ghostface, don't kill me. I want to be in the sequel.
And then on the lower right hand side, there's a high school ring with a gargoyle.
Yeah, what is that? That's it reminds me of the first thing I thought of when I saw that is the Call of Cthulhu, the paperweights.
Yeah, I know, it's interesting, especially with the heart. It's a heart-shaped ring as well.
Yeah, it just looks like something you'd use. It looks like something from Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 90s one with Gary Oldman. That looks like something he would wear when he's in that weird outfit with the big hair and the long cape, and he's got I think he has a bunch of rings on, and I feel like that's one of them.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting, striking cover, but it's so 80s.
It's so painfully 80s. It's the most 80s one we've ever seen. It actually kind of also reminds me of the poster for, I think it's Chopping Mall.
Oh, Chopping Mall, yeah. That poster is, I thought it just says Chopping Mall on it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a shopping bag with body parts in it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know my 80s movies. That's not sort of my realm of expertise.
I think the poster you're thinking of is Prom Night.
Yeah, Prom Night. That's the one, probably.
Oh, I love Prom Night. This is what I kind of thought this book was going to be like.
And he's got that. I honestly, like, I love font that they, like, every single book in this period in the 80s used for the author's name. Like, you look at any book from the 80s and it's like Anne Rice, Stephen King, R.L. Stein, Patricia Cornwell. It's all the same font. It's always the same font, and I love that font. It's a good font.
I like how they mirrored it in Stranger Things, like, because that was just the font.
Yeah,
that they
made
go
like
for.
their own version of the 80s author font.
Yeah. So, May, you want to read the tagline?
Does her boyfriend really want to kill her?
Well, does she? I don't know. We have to find out.
We gotta read the book.
A date with death. Jamie and Tom are in love. They've gotten steady since junior high and are planning to graduate from high school and attend college together. Then, of course, they'll marry. Everything's perfect until Tom breaks a date. Oh no. And all the horror begins. Suddenly, her perfectly planned dream has become a nightmare. She must talk to him. But what happened to Tom? To Jamie's horror, the boy she loves is stalking her, calling her, threatening her. Tom can't afford to let her live, and there's nowhere she can hide. Bum, bum, bum.
I think the listeners have figured out by now that I don't like the young adult R.L. Stein books as much as I like Goosebumps, because a lot of them kind of like fall into this boyfriend trying to kill you, girlfriend trying to kill you kind of stuff, and that is a little bit like, it's too real. I prefer all of the ghosts and werewolves and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, for me it just hits home. I don't know, when I thought of this book, I was just getting kind of creeped out because it's like, oh my god, this girl's kind of crazy.
First thing we learn about Jamie is that she hates getting paper cuts, and I find that very amusing. First line in the book is, "Ouch, I hate paper cuts."
Yeah, but then he describes it in graphic detail. She's bleeding all over the place like a stuck pig.
I'm a little concerned with, she sucked the blood off her finger, making a face at the bitter taste. Would you ever describe blood as bitter?
No, I'd consider it like salty and like
salty.
irony.
It's coppery, metally, and salty, and it's not bitter. I don't consider it bitter.
I don't. Maybe she's very salty. She plays a lot of League of Legends a lot, so the paper cut.
She's got straight black hair, and she's been thinking
but
about
on the cover,
cutting
she's
it.
Blonde. Wait, what?
Is that supposed to be her on the cover? I
think it would be her on the cover. Wait, if she's got straight...
like what we said, what Tim Jacobus said in the interview is that like sometimes they don't give him the book to read.
I don't think Tim Jacobus did this.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm just saying that like I think that applies to a lot of other artists who do book covers as well. Like they don't read the book; they just get like a blurb and like a description of a scene that should be on the cover. So, I mean, maybe the artist just didn't know what she was supposed to look like.
So, David Fishman, if you're listening to this, let us know. Did you get any description for this book besides, if someone broke a date?
Girl scream at the knife. I was about to say email, but then I remembered it was 1988. That's the letter that he got. It was just like, all it said was, book cover description. She scream at knife.
No, they had email. It was like, Mom, don't use the phone.
Oh, man, remember that? Remember that? I used to try and call it my friend Nell, but like I couldn't get through to her because her brother was online on a chat room.
How times have changed.
Oh man. She hates paper cuts. She's been thinking about getting her hair cut short, but she didn't want to because Tom likes it long. And
yeah, this is where this book kind of starts getting into like, oh yeah, this is like 50s like nuclear family type.
Yeah, that's a little bit like. My reaction was just like, cut it short anyway. Don't just keep your hair the way that your boyfriend wants you to keep it. That's love yourself. Express yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Exactly. Yeah. She wasn't angry about the paper cut. She was angry about Tom, though. Because he wasn't there. Because he didn't come.
He didn't come, but her really...
She's got a real trendy rainbow-colored watch as well.
Oh, yeah, she got a swatch. I was like dying.
Man.
I forgot, like, oh yeah, swatches exist. And she's like, I can't read this fashionable swatch.
Why do you have it then?
It's fashionable. And just imagine, like, it's like a snap bracelet type of thing, which is like rainbow colored.
I'm imagining one of those watches that like doesn't have the numbers on it.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
that so much.
But don't forget, her annoying little brother comes in and he's like, hey, do you want to play some Hungry Hungry Hippos?
Except it's not Hungry Hungry Hippos. They just call it Hungry Hippos.
Oh, Hungry Hippos. I'm sorry. I guess the Hungry is copyrighted.
Yeah, or maybe R.L. Stine just doesn't know that it's called Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Hey guys, do you want to play For Connect?
No, I'm just thinking of, you, Connect 4, R.L. Stine, an intellectual, conjoin quartet.
Oh, that's exactly what he would do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got such great taste in music, as you'll find out later in this book.
Yeah, I know. So, once again, annoying younger brother, a staple of the genre.
Their mom's very, not helicoptery, but her name's Cheryl, which I couldn't stop laughing at, because that's always the name you give to a stern mom.
Yeah, I know. It's always like, you know that, meme about, PTA moms fighting each other? There's always one called Cheryl. It's like Helen, Barbara, and Cheryl are like...
Yep, and they have Cheryl, but oh no, Tom isn't there, and it's really upsetting her because, he's never broken a date.
I'm still not over that, that phrasing. It's just very strange to me. Maybe that is something that people said back in the day.
She'd be like, oh no, I can't believe he's broken a shindig. So then she calls up her best friend in the world,
Anne-Marie. And Anne-Marie's a big jokester because the first thing she says is, she calls up Anne-Marie and she goes, hey, what are you doing? And Anne-Marie says, talking to you on the phone. Oh, what a good goof, Anne-Marie.
So we can all play the R.L. Stine drinking game. Meg, what color is her hair?
Red!
Ah, God. So she's like, hey girl, I'm gonna pick you up and we're gonna go shopping for shoes. Oh my God, let's get some
shoes. Let's get some shoes.
So then they hop into Anne-Marie's car. I just wanted to keep calling her, something else.
I kept wanting to call her Anne Margaret.
I wanted to call her, Anna Louise.
Yeah, I wanted to call her Anne Margaret, because Anne Margaret, the singer/actress who played opposite Elvis in Viva Las Vegas, and probably some other things that I haven't seen, she was a redhead, I think.
Maybe that might be the plan words. I don't know. But they go down to the mall and they start going to all the, hot places like the shoe store, the beer store, the movie theater, and just a bunch of generic names because, R.L. Stine for some reason doesn't want to name drop store.
Before she goes off to the mall with Anne-Marie, she her brother comes up and says, hey, you want to play Hungry Hippos? And she screams at him.
Oh yeah, she's like, I'm tired of your hungry hippos.
God forbid a child want to spend time with their sibling.
Well, I mean, yeah, time.
Anne-Marie is like, oh, I reckon Tom's just at swim practice because Coach Daniels is a real fanatic. Make them all stay in the pool for a few extra hours to see if they can swim faster with wrinkly skin. And that is an awkward and uncomfortable phrasing.
I believe that's called stranger danger. Call the police immediately.
There's a lot of uncomfortable word choice in a lot of these books.
I just think of when I thought of that, I picture the really wrinkly dogs.
Oh man, what are they called? Shar-Peis?
Yeah, Shar-Peis. I just imagine they just turn into Shar-Peis. So then they go to the mall, and it's much like Mean Girls. They go on a shopping spree.
Anne-Marie wants to buy some pink Reeboks and...
Oh yeah, because they're so ugly that they're on sale. And I'm like, I'll take some pink Reeboks.
Yeah, well, joke's on you, because now pink sneakers are, cool. I mean, joke's on you, Jamie. Anne-Marie probably bought those shoes and then kept them for 30 years, sold them as vintage 80s chic Reeboks on Etsy, and got, $500 for them.
I should do that with my Heelys, vintage Heelys.
No, keep the Heelys. Keep the Heelys. They are going to come back, and you will need them.
I'll need them for the zombie apocalypse.
You're going to need them to outrun all of the nuclear zombies when the Fallout universe finally happens.
So then Jamie decides to go down to the jewelry store.
And when they're in the car park, they see Tom's blue Camaro.
Oh my God, why is Tom's blue Camaro there? But I thought Tom didn't have a car.
Because it's being raffled off by the Lions Club because he has no money.
Ironically, Jamie and Lion Club, Jamie, Lannister, oh, never mind.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so that went completely over my head. And unfortunately, this week we do not have Henry here to explain.
Welcome to the Westeros History Podcast. I'm your host, Zach.
Welcome to the show where Zach explains Game of Thrones in excruciating detail to his idiot co-host.
And you're just like, how did you get this from these books? I just like medieval history. So she goes into the jewelry store and she's like, oh, look at all this beautiful jewelry. I wish I could have it. I wonder if Tom will buy this all for me.
Yeah, because Tom, he's not going to be poor forever because he's going to sell his car and he's going to make bank at his job, I guess.
Yes, but then all of a sudden, there's a stick-up, Sari. Put all the jewels in the bag.
Oh, no, but guess who's holding up the store?
Is it Jamie?
No, it's Tom.
Wait, Tom? I thought he was at swim practice.
She let out a silent cry as she realized the young man holding up the store was Tom, because Tom has really, really, really light blonde hair.
Oh my god, Tom's a Targaryen.
Yes. Oh.
Khaleesi, mother of robberies.
Now I'm just thinking about... Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this on air, but when I read the book Kraken recently, finally finished it, and there was a part in it that just destroyed me about this cult called the Gun Farmers, who have these magic guns that shoot bullets that are actually eggs that hatch into tiny guns that grow into bigger adult guns. And I was reading that on the plane, and I had to put the book down. I was laughing so hard because that's such a ridiculous image. And I'm just imagining Tom, father of guns, and he's got a bunch of little baby guns. Yeah, so Tom, father of guns, he's holding up the store.
He's holding up the jewelry guy, and he's like,
hurry up, old man, or your history. Which is such like a 1920s gangster kind of thing to say.
Sorry, put it in the bag.
I can't do that voice. I can't,
but the guy's like, oh, good heavens, no.
The guy keeps calling him a punk, which is hilarious. I don't know why I think, like, people calling like kids punks is so funny. It just seems very like old-fashioned to me.
Hey, punk.
Hey,
as he's pointing a gun, what are you gonna do? Shoot me? That's exactly what he does.
He does. He shoots him.
Yes. You know what's worse, Meg? He shoots him like a couple times and runs away with probably like $15.25.
Tom does not dick around. I wonder if Tom is related to the guy in Silent Night that like started a car chase over some ranch dip or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, so some cheese dip.
Yeah, it was a jalapeno cheese dip.
Oh my gosh.
What is it with like these guys just like
murdering people
just
over
murdering
nothing?
people over like tiny things. He got like it says how much he got from the. He didn't give him that much because the guy's like, "That's all I got, you punk. Did you hear me? You're a punk." And then he shoots him. Tom takes no prisoners.
No quarter.
Yeah, and then Anne-Marie, in the grand tradition of like R.L. Stein's redhead characters just being very nasty people. Anne-Marie's reaction is maybe you're gonna get in trouble for leaving the scene of the crime. Maybe it makes you an accessory or something. This is exciting. It's exciting. Yeah, I hope you get arrested, best friend.
Because Jamie doesn't want to be there because, you know, she had just witnessed a murder.
And she knows it was her boyfriend because she saw him. It was Tom. She definitely saw him do it.
So they go home and she's like, oh no, what am I going to do? Oh no, I forgot. Tonight's the big dance, ? And I'm still going to be seeing Tom tonight, ?
Okay.
That's like really weird.
Yeah, she goes home and there's a message on the answer phone, and she pushes the button on it to make the tape rewind, which is like, I don't even think I'm old enough to remember a time where the answer phone was like a physical tape recorder.
I remember that.
We never had one. Either we did,
well,
like, if we did, I just don't remember it because I was a baby when we had one.
So what she did was cleverly, she actually attached two tape recorders together, and she found out that Tom was cheating on her with his best friend.
Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. So she hears the message, and he's called from a payphone. He's lying and saying that he was at the pool, and he's got some other stuff that he has to do, and he's going to pick her up at 8.
And then, like, she waits, and they pick her up at 8, but oh wait, Tom doesn't have his car. I thought of it like the invisible boatmobile.
He just, like, rolls up, like, he's just, like, sitting and, like, making car noises.
Yeah, and they wait for, like, Anne-Marie, and they all go to the dance, the big, you know, probably, like, Sadie Hawkins.
But she's left her wallet at the jewelry store.
Oh, no. And that means she doesn't have her tickets.
Date is ruined.
They get there, and she's like, I don't have my tickets. And the chaperone's like, yeah, just go in. I'm like, what?
I mean, I guess this was the 80s. This was before anybody cared about anything.
Yeah, I guess so. And then they start, like, having a fun time, but, you know, good old Jamie's just getting super nervous about the whole night. She's with Tom. Tom seems very distant. And, like, they kind of like step off the dance floor when Anna Marine's like, "Oh my God, they're playing my song." And Meg, what song are they playing? What is her most romantic song?
Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys.
You gotta fight for your right to party. Yeah. I'm just like imagining, okay, this book was 88. I'm just like imagining like they could have played so many other songs. That they could have played The Police. They could have played Journey. They could have played
Don't Stop Believing. That would be the one that I would expect. That I didn't even know that the Beastie Boys were around in 88. I thought they were later than that.
No, they were like late 80s. That's when they really started. So this is they must have been like really big at this time for R.L. Stein to put it.
Yeah, for R.L. Stein to have heard of them. Rob L. The rap music Stein.
Oh my God, that's what he is. I just like imagine like how R.L. Stein looks right now, going to a club and listening to Beastie Boys.
Yeah. Now I'm just imagining him as, I don't know if you watch the IT Crowd, but there's that episode of, this music sounds like it comes from space.
Actually one of my favorite pictures is there's a picture of Stephen King at a Megadeth concert, and he's just like as preppy as, like he's like wearing like a turtleneck sweater and stuff, and he's just like sitting in the background.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Henry, and it's like, you expect horror writers to be kind of like creepy looking, but most of them just kind of look like dads. So then they're there and...
No, then they leave because Jamie leaves early. She's like really just, she doesn't want to be with Tom because she knows that he committed a murder.
Yeah.
So she starts walking home by herself. You know, it's the 80s. And this is where this book kind of starts getting kind of creepy, where she feels like someone's following her. Like 10 o'clock at night, so clearly no one's outside. And she starts running home. And I like how they describe it in this. Is like, okay, I have 3 houses left. Now 2. Now 1. Should I dare look back?
Tom's there with a knife.
Oh my God.
But it takes away from the menace a little bit that he's like slapping his other hand with the knife, which is like, how are you not just cutting yourself repeatedly?
He's not, but she gets inside and it's okay because apparently all the lights are off at her house, but all of her family are in the den.
With the lights off?
The lights off. Her family's just a bunch of robots. Hello there. We should power back on. Boop, 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 boop. It's like the robot parents from Invader Zim. They're just there for appearance.
She grabs the knife, right? And she stabs him. So he's behind her, and she screams, "How could you? How could you ruin our lives?" Tom looks stunned. He took a step back, but he wasn't fast enough. She grabbed the pick from his hand, so I guess that's not a knife, it's an ice pick. "You've ruined everything!" She stabbed it deep into his chest, again and again. "Jamie, no!" He grabbed at his chest and fell to the floor. Jamie dropped the blood-covered pick to the floor beside him. Then she turned, pushed open the door, and ran into the corridor. I killed him, she screamed.
Oh no, that's a good thing to tell to your parents.
Yeah.
So their response is weird. They're like, "Hey, sweetie, are you sick? You look a little pale, almost green." Like, if my daughter came in screaming, "I killed a man," I'd be like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They're just, like, the perfect, like, 50s, like, nuclear family.
But
so they're
Tom's
just like,
there, too, so who did she stab?
Oh, my God. So she goes upstairs and takes a nap, and then she gets, like, weird dreams where, you know, Tom's in her room. And then for the next couple days, things are getting weirder. Tom apparently is, you know, very distant. He hasn't been home. His dad had gotten into a car accident, quote unquote. The person that was shot is dead, and everyone doesn't know what's going on. There's no suspects or witnesses.
And she keeps getting calls that are like, "You saw me at the mall. I know you saw me at the mall." And of course, she definitely assumes that it's Tom.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And she starts hanging out more with like Anna Marie. So it gets to the point of where Jamie decides, okay, I'm going to have to call up Tom's best friend. I need to figure out what happened. So she calls him up, and Tom's best friend is like kind of an airhead, Eric the Airhead. And she's like, "Hey, do you know if Tom left on time yesterday?" Like, "Oh no, he left super early yesterday." And like, "Oh my God, he could have been at the mall." Oh my gosh. So then she decides, that's it, I have to confront Tom. So she gets up, she walks to Tom's house, she opens his door, and there's a stranger standing right in front of her. Bum, bum,
oh no!
And it's It's just some guy. She might have gotten the wrong house, but no, not really. It turns out Tom's dad got into a horrible car accident and Tom is upstate.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he's just there watching the cats.
What state is this?
I want to say this is probably in Ohio.
Yeah. But they talk about going to University of Syracuse, which is in New York.
Okay, then they're in New York.
Yeah.
Jamie's afraid that, Tom just skipped town because he knows that the cops are after him.
Jamie jumps to a lot of conclusions.
Oh, she jumps to a lot of conclusions.
I mean, seeing a guy who's got, like, the same hair color as your boyfriend, like, it doesn't even... She doesn't even, like, get a good look at his face, I don't think.
Well, that's because she doesn't wear glasses in public because it makes her look ugly.
That's such an 80s thing. Like, now it's, like, cool to wear glasses. But back then it was like, oh, you wear glasses. Ew.
Nerd.
Geek.
It's really weird, especially, like, with this, like... She jumps to so many conclusions about her boyfriend instantly because he skipped one date. Like, oh my god, he commits murder.
A lot of these protagonists in the Fear Street and similar books, they're not very smart.
No, it's just like, okay, Meg, here's a good question. If you had witnessed this, what would you do if you suspected your boyfriend of committing murder?
I would probably call the cops.
You hear that, Henry? She called the cops, so you better hide those bodies.
Yeah, I know what you did. I'm coming for you. So...
Well, wait a second. That's what you guys were doing when you came over there. You were just on a murder spree. It's like Bonnie and Clyde.
I would at the very least say to the cops, hey, I think I'm a witness to this crime, and I may know who did it. Just go and check out this lead. And then if the cops find anything that suggests that you have a reason to... You know what I'm saying?
You need to have, like, a reason, not just, oh my god, he might have done it.
Yeah, you have to just not, like, be like, that guy looks sort of like my boyfriend, but I can't confirm. It was definitely him 100%. You've got to go to the cops with this information.
But she doesn't. She's very airheady until she decides, yeah, I guess I can go to the cops with this information. When she starts to... She's like, I gotta get to a payphone. And she gets to a payphone, and all of a sudden, there's Tom.
Oh, no.
Wait a second. It's not Tom. It's another guy with blonde, sandy hair that looks like Tom.
At that point, it would be like, oh, so there's more than one person in this town that has the same hair color as the boyfriend and my robber. Therefore, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe I should, like, I don't know, tell the police? Because it's like, in the paper, they're reading the paper and it says, mall jeweler killed in the holdup. Police believe there were no witnesses to the crime. Talk to the cops, you stupid person.
Yeah, well, she doesn't. And she's like, oh no, you're not Tom. But all of a sudden, Tom pops up because he needs to be in this plot.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait a second, there's two of you. And that's when, I guess, not Tom, like... literally Ted Bundy's her and puts in the back of his van.
Yeah.
And this is where this book becomes like, what am I reading? This is horrific. Because then not Tom drives away in a van with good old Jamie. And then the rest of this book becomes like the Ted Bundy adventure.
Can I just say what the name of this, like, not Tom is?
Oh no, we'll get to it.
I am still getting over this name because it's one of the dumbest character names we've had.
So they're driving and she doesn't know what's going on. They've been driving for hours and hours and hours. And she can kind of see outside and there's woods. And finally the car stops and this guy opens the trunk, takes out Jamie, and they're in the middle of the woods and they go into a shack. And he's like, I have to kill you now because you know who I am.
Now, the one part of this that I thought was kind of good is that when she actually, like, runs into this fake Tom, she sees him at the far end of the car park and she's running towards him. And then she sees the real Tom just as this guy, like, shoves her in the van. And I think that That's, like, the only good, like, suspense moment.
I think when we get to actually this cabin, that's when this becomes like a super like suspense.
Yeah, that's my general problem with R.L. Stine's young adult fiction, is it's just, like, occasionally good scares and occasionally good descriptions and imagery thrown into just, like, a really inane bullshit teen angst plots.
The problem with Fear Street is very hit or miss. Then again, these books weren't intended for us, really.
Guess, yeah, I mean,
They're more actually, I think they'd be more intended towards, like, your age group if you were, like, 15, 16, but not, like...
This doesn't have as much, like, appeal, like, intergenerational appeal as Goosebumps, because it's very much, like, for teenagers.
Especially, like, teenagers in the time of the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like, I can't see my 15-year-old niece reading this.
She wouldn't get, like, half of the stuff. Like, we barely get half of the stuff.
Yeah, I know. And also, like, there's better books for teenagers now.
I mean, this is all this disposable literature. I'm pretty sure, like, half these books are, like, in a landfill somewhere.
Yeah.
So they get inside, and the robber, we're going to get to his name eventually, is like, I'm going to go, like, take, like, a cigarette break. And somehow Jamie is able to, like, break free of her bonds, and she goes into the next room, and there's, like a lady there.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, help me, help me, help me. And Meg, what does she say? Remember, she says that's where she says the robber's name.
Okie Farnham.
Yeah, no, Okie wouldn't like that.
I mean, of course you're going to become a murderer if your name is Okie Farnham. This woman, her name is Dolly, by the way. This woman is described as having bleached red hair. I don't know what that means.
Is it like red, like neon red?
Like, how do you, like...
You know, in my brain, you know what I thought of
you
for
can't,
these two?
Well, you know, no. The only people that have bleached red hair are Asian people. Their hair, if you bleach it, because it's so dark, if you bleach it, it turns red instead of turning blonde because there's still some pigment left in it. You have to bleach the hair white and then put the red on top of it. I don't know. R.L. Stine doesn't understand hair.
Well, you do. You know, I thought of the two people, like, I always thought they put faces to these people, and I thought of the two kick characters, and Evil Dead 2 with, like, Bobby Joe, and I always forget the other guy's name.
Yeah, the hillbillies. I thought of Peggy Bundy.
Okay.
Just like because she's wearing like white plastic boots and a blue and green shirt and jean cutoffs, and she sounds very like Peggy Bundy-esque.
Oh no. But they have to kill Jamie because she knows too much, apparently. Even though the entire time, like, I thought it was my boyfriend. And Okie's like, that's a good excuse, but we're still gonna kill
like,
you.
he dyed his hair so that he would look more like Tom. So, I don't understand. Like, you could have just let her think that Tom did it.
And then, you know what had happened? Because there aren't apparently video cameras, he would have been framed for the murder, and the guy would have gotten off scotch-free. See, then the problem, though, is, like, he's explaining, like, his plan and all the other people he's murdered.
Drown her.
He's gonna drown, because
he's
a psychopath, because he's like, oh, the bath is ready.
And he's also, like, he killed everybody in the housing project where he lived when he was 17.
Yeah, he's a good old psychopath.
Yeah, he's like a Norman Bates kind of boy.
And the reason, like, he likes drowning people, they explain is, oh, it's a much peaceful way to die. No, it's not. It's quite horrific.
Not. No. Okie, you're wrong. I'll fight you on this, Okie.
You'll drown him on this?
And also, he's got a stutter because, like...
I just kept thinking of no, not Guillermo.
Benicio del Toro's character in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't he blonde, too? Like, I saw this movie.
No, he wasn't. He had black hair.
I'm getting that character mixed up with the Collector.
Yeah, it's the Collector. You're thinking of his... So the guy looks like Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah. But all of a sudden, Tom comes in.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he gets his ass kicked. Well, I can't remember which Neil Breen movie it is where that guy, they just like beat him up and it's like almost comedic.
I think that's in I Am Here now.
Yeah, like they start, okay, so there's a part where they just like punch this guy and it's like 5 minutes of them just punching him. It's just funny.
And they're not even like, their fists aren't even making contact. It's like the worst stage punching I've ever seen. And they they use the same sound effect every time. So it's like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
No, so then good old Okie comes up with the idea, I'm gonna kill Tom in front of you because I'm that kind of weirdo.
Yeah.
and he puts his head under the water for 3 whole minutes. Oh my god, no one could survive that.
To R.L. Stein's credit, though, like, at least it takes him 3 minutes to hold Tom's head underwater and make him go unconscious. Because usually in movies, it's like 2 seconds and then he's done. Why is, like, I thought he was trying, like, the whole point of him dyeing his hair so he could frame Tom. But if he kills Tom, he can't frame Tom because there's no Tom anymore.
Or, you know, it was actually Tom's ghost that did the murders.
Oh, no.
I just, like, imagine that the police come in. My god.
The ghost
We're hunting
did it.
a ghost. The ghost did it. And, like, he takes off
We
his
gotta
glasses.
call ghost crimes.
Oh, my god. There's actually, like, a division in the police department. It's, like, in the basement. We have another one, sir. Another ghost crime killing? My god, that's the 6th one this week.
Law and Order Ghost Crimes Unit. Dun dun.
I'd actually watch that.
I would watch that in a heartbeat. I would watch that.
So Tom's dead, and even though, you know, he was the captain of the swim team, wink,
Winky.
winky emoji face.
Wink wonk.
That's when good old Oki comes up with an even worse sick idea, where it's like, I'm gonna make her my slave. I'm like, oh, fudge.
Okay, Oki, sure. Dolly rightfully points out that they keep Jamie as a slave. They have to, like, constantly make sure she's not trying to escape.
But, you know, I guess, like, Oki gets cooked on this idea because he's becoming more of, like, a Charles Manson type person. He's just gonna...
I don't know. It's sort of like R.L. Stine took every, like, sort of, like, crazy murderer person trope, put it in a meat grinder, and then just, like, formed the resulting mess into the shape of a human, and that's Oki.
I mean, his name is Oki, after all. That's the saddest...
I really don't like... I really, really don't like when, like, villains and things are given confusing motivation and, like, confusing actions, and the writers just kind of try and write it off like, oh, he's crazy, woo, he's a crazy person! Like, that's not what mental illness is. That's not, like, don't use mental illness to...
I mean, okay, so the way I look at villains is every good villain is just a story you've never heard. Like, there's, in their eyes, they are the hero.
Yeah.
This guy is just a total psychopath that
This
has
guy's
no...
he has no, like, consistent motivation. He just does things because R.L. Stine's like, oh, what would a crazy person do at this point?
There's so many good villains you can, like, look at. Like, if you look at... Let's give it a good example everyone knows. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. Terrible motivation, but at least he has, like, a motivation why he's kind of
at least you understand what he's trying to do. But then you can, like as an example of, like a sort of, like, quote-unquote crazy villain that's done a lot better, you could look at, like, the Joker in The Dark Knight. You could look at Buffalo Bill. They're still, like, consistent in their craziness.
I mean, there's so many other examples. You can even look at real life, but... Yeah. I mean, if you look at, like, real-life serial killers, there's actually, like, reasons and why they're, like, messed up individuals.
It's not just, like, oh, mental illness makes you do weird stuff and kill people. We could go on forever. I think.
We could easily go on forever, and we could talk about, you know, it's either through the stages of development or something traumatic happened to Oki, and it's made him, like, a terrible person, but we'll just, for right now, because we have to save us a breath, it's just terrible writing. No offense, R.L. Stine, but this is kind of a bad book.
Stine, but, like, this is not an R.L. Stine problem. This is, like, a problem that a lot of writers have. That they'd just be like, oh, the villain's crazy, so we don't have to have him make sense, because that's what mental illness is, right?
I mean, if we look at examples of, like, Fear Park, we know the motivation for...
Robin is a much better character than Oki.
So you can see where, like, R.L. Stine progresses. He does have a...
R.L. Stine is capable of writing better stuff. I feel like, okay, this is something that I somehow neglected to mention, that you somehow neglected to mention also. The jewelry store that he robbed, it was called the Diamond Ranch. That's a weird name for a jewelry store.
I mean, there's dude ranches.
Yeah, but that's like why would you don't farm diamonds. You don't farm diamonds. Why would there be diamonds?
I just, like, imagine, like, a bunch of, like highly, like, jeweled creatures, like, being herded. One of the other weird things that, you know, Tom does is he gives Jamie gold earrings. Bum, bum, bum.
But how did he afford them? He is poor, trademark.
Poor?
Yeah, he had to sell his car. He's poor.
Man, that's just miserable.
Yeah. He stole one loaf of bread. Yeah. So, plot twist. Tom can hold his breath for a long time because he's on the swim team, and
Who knew? How? If only he didn't know how to swim, or Oki knew that detail about him, even though he's trying to impersonate Tom.
And then Dolly and Jamie fight, and Dolly falls over and hits her head on the table and gets knocked out, and then Jamie stabs Oki, and then Tom knocks him out. And then they
take his van, they take Oki's van, and they drive away, leaving these people stranded in the middle of the woods, one of them horribly injured.
And nobody's calling the police. Nobody called the police in this whole book. Not once.
No coppers are coming, and you can consider that Tom actually did kill somebody that day, or 2 people.
Tom did a murder, basically.
But Jamie's okay with it, because,
Jamie's okay with it, because at least he didn't do that one other murder that she thought he did.
She actually saved his life, so it's, chivalry, I guess. I don't know. So then they get home, everything's all right, and then they start explaining that the reason why Tom broke off the date is because he actually got a part-time job so he could start paying for stuff for Jamie.
Yay!
Aww. He quit the swim team that day, that's why he left early. His dad's doing just okay.
That's good.
And you know what? But Jamie makes 2 promises, Meg. What were those promises?
She promises she's never gonna go out without her glasses on again. And he promises to never break another date.
I don't know if this book is good or bad. I think it's just,
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like, I kind of liked the twist of there being, like, another Tom, but I just didn't like Oki. He's not a very well-written character.
I mean, it was interesting that they had him. I was thinking it was someone else, or, it actually was Tom, because the thing they were trying to do with this book was, wait, maybe, Jamie's just crazy. Maybe it's all in her head.
A lot of these, like, R.L. Stine young adult books, we end up talking about, like, oh, it would have been better if this had happened.
Yeah, we're trying to, like, armchair R.L. Stine.
Yeah, we are trying to backseat right.
And I don't know, how would you fix this book? I feel like I would have liked it a little more if actually it turned out she's just overreacting and actually is kind of like...
Yeah, if she had, like, if it had been, like, she got so worked up over it that she ends up, like, stalking him and, like, he thinks that, like, she ends up being Tom's a killer and she ends up, like, stalking him, and... I would have liked it if, like, that dream sequence of her stabbing Tom, if that had been, like, real. I almost would have enjoyed that better. Like she, in thinking that she's defending herself, she ends up being a murderer and Tom's not a murderer. That would have been a more interesting story.
See, that would have been amazing. I feel like it would have been even more interesting if it was just up in the air who murdered the jewelry guy. And it was just, was it Tom, is it not? And then, I guess it works, but I feel like the part I liked about this book actually is the ending. Like, almost, because... a lot of, I guess it's real world stuff of getting kidnapped is a big old fear.
Yeah, it is.
Especially getting murdered.
Yeah, especially for, like, a woman in the 70s or the 80s, I think. That was, like, peak serial killer time.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people would just hitchhike all day long.
Although the government killed hitchhiking. I learned that from Wine and Crime.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Yeah. No, I did, because their episode on hitchhiking killers was ages and ages ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rampant thing. There's, like, a really great story that another podcast that everyone should listen to is 91 Reasons, and there's an episode where Jeff, the host, talks about how when he was younger, he actually used to hang out with this guy, and on Halloween, he dressed up as Darth Vader, and he had him on his shoulders. It turns out that guy was a freeway killer.
Oh,
was a serial killer. So there's a picture of him dressed up as Luke Skywalker, and the other guy's dressed up as Darth Vader, and the Darth Vader guy is a serial killer. So it's, like, interesting stuff. Like, it just happens. I mean, there's not really much you can talk about this book, because Jamie is just super bland. Tom's super bland. The only breakout character in this is Anna Marie, just because she's really funny.
Yeah, she's, like, everybody in this book is really generic.
I can see why this wasn't really a Fear Street book. So, I mean... I think my verdict of this book is, if you find it at a thrift store, just pick it up, but don't expect to read it the first thing. Just let it buffer. Be one of like your R.L. Stein buffer books if you're just bored or burnt out with Goosebumps.
Yeah, when you have absolutely no other R.L. Stein books and you just need some R.L. Stein.
You just need some like good old healthy Stein in your diet.
Yeah. So what are we reading next week, Zach?
So Meg, what is like one of your favorite things that personally traumatized you as a kid and in book form?
How I Quit the Babysitter's Club.
No, what else? There has to be other things, you know. It might be words. It might be pictures.
Is it Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yeah.
Oh, nice! Oh, that'll be fun!
Oh, we haven't done this in a while. This isn't really like a Goosebumps knockoff book, but I have the original version of it.
It is very much in our wheelhouse of spooky kid lit from the 90s.
I've never actually read it.
You've never... Oh, my... How is it that I did something that you didn't do?
It just wasn't something that I read. I read more R.L. Stein. I mean, I've seen the pictures and stuff, but I've never actually read the stories.
Man, I used to love Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
So this will be like a really interesting little thing.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not a story. It's just like a collection of little stories.
Yeah, so this might be like a different review for next week.
Yeah, we'll have to like choose our favorites.
We'll go through all of them, but we'll choose which ones. This will be interesting. This is the first time we've done like a short story collection.
Yeah. They're fun little stories. They're not, like, I went back and read some of them again. They're not scary at all, but they're just fun. And of course, Stephen Gammell's art is phenomenal. They did a reprint with Brett Helquist doing the illustrations, and as much as I love Brett Helquist, for those who don't know, he did all the pictures for a series of Unfortunate Events. As much as I love him, nobody can beat Stephen Gammell for Scary Stories, because those pictures that he did were just fire.
I believe they just reissued the book again with the original drawings.
Good, I'm glad.
And then Guillermo del Toro's doing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Hey, Zach, why don't you tell a joke? Wow, thanks, Meg. Let me tell a joke.
Wow, that was like, oh, did I actually say that? That was such a good impression of me, Zach.
It was so good. G'day, mates. Zach.
You may have confused the listeners with your excellent and flawless impression of me.
I was doing it while drinking a cup of water.
Oh, wow.
What do English sea monsters have for dinner?
What do they have for dinner, Zach?
Fish and chips.
But
That one's actually kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. I like that one.
Oh, my God. They're going to get some little Earl Grey. So, Meg, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Meg Tuten. That's at MEGTUTEN. And you can find me on Tumblr at sodasodabanana.tumblr.com. You can also find me on Redbubble, where I have Nightmare on Fear Street merchandise. And that's at redbubble.com/people/Megan Tuten, which is MEGHANTUTEN. And I've got some real good, I've got the Bigfoot Capoeira Time shirt, I've got the Nightmare on Fear Street green logo, Nightmare on Fear Street pink logo, and I've got Vampire Blood Melts Steel Beams. So you can buy any of those, as well as a bunch of other stuff that's not Nightmare on Fear Street. Zach, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Suda41, that's SUDA. You can also find our show on Twitter at Night Fear Street. If you want to email the show and send us spooky messages, you can email us at nightmareinfearstreet@gmail.com. And if you want to follow our Patreon, that's patreon.com/nightmareinfearstreet. If you want to find us on other podcatching places such as Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and maybe even the cold, dead part of your brain that just screams.
Yeah, that void in the corner of your room that just like sounds come out of, and there's like constant whispering. If you focus real close, you'll hear our show. Or
Cyndi Lauper. We haven't been able to fix that.
I mean, you just gotta like tune your brain.
Okay.
You gotta tune your brain, Zach.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Meg.
And stay spooky. Bye.